animal underneath there, that is actually a sable antelope. That's the emblem of our reserve. We might get a chance to find some of those as we head out towards the savannah later on, so we'll have to keep our eyes a little peeled. Harambe is actually not just the name of the village, but it's also a word in Swahili that translates to mean come together. I do hope that after this experience, getting to go through different kinds of ecosystems and seeing where these animals live, and also learning how important everything is, not just for the animals, but for us too, to all work together, that we are encouraged to come together, human and animal alike, and take care of each other. About 25 years ago, the adventure we're going on now, it's kind of similar to an adventure that was done by a very small group of artists. They headed out to Africa and they went through different ecosystems, mostly the savannah, seeing as it's a very big ecosystem. And they got some inspiration for The Lion King, so you might see a little bit of similarities between the movie and everything that we're going through now. On your right hand side is an okapi, and on your left hand side is quite a lot of bongos. I'm going to talk about the bongos first. You see how they're kind of moving their tails and their ears in circles? That's how they cool off. Bongos are critically endangered. There's not quite a lot of them left in the world. They happen to be one of my personal favorite animals. They have these really awesome horns that have kind of a spiral shape to them, so that when they walk around in the forest, they don't get stuck on anything. The okapi is related to the giraffe, even though it kind of looks like it's related to a zebra. They are so shy and reclusive that up until 1901, the Western world believed that the okapi was a mythical creature. They did not even think it was real. The bongo and the okapi, and actually the greater kudu as well, which you'll be seeing in a short few moments on the right. I hope you'll be seeing her actually. She's kind of hiding up here on the top of this hill. Maybe you'll see her as we come around this corner.
There it is. Yep.
She's a very large antelope. You can kind of see her head sticking up. They all have stripes, that is their camouflage, and it helps them blend in with sunlight, glistening off the trees. I'm going to stop right here because I also want you to check out on your left-hand side, way in the far back, there's a pile of rock sand, and those rocks is a black rhinoceros. You can kind of see him sleeping over there. By that ear, he or she, could be either. Both males and females have horns. It's actually how they defend themselves. And sometimes you'll see a rhino use its horn as a utensil. They'll kind of move the bushes around and use their horn to chop away at branches and get something good to eat. Rhino horns are formed out of keratin. And, well, they need it more than we do. We do not need their horns. And it's unfortunate that that's the main reason rhinos are poached. There's only about 5,000 black rhinos left in the world. This is rhinos in the wild and on reserves too. It's a critically endangered species. But besides that, many animals that rely on the forest are facing habitat loss due to forest destruction. As we go through different ecosystems, I'm going to kind of give you guys some info and let you know a few things you can do for conservation, what you can do at home to help out. So with the forest, it's simple. Just reduce our waste, create less of a demand for paper product, and also reusing it, recycling it. That will all help out. Is anybody on the safari for the first time today? Woo! Yes. Woo! 2 or 3 people. Awesome. Everyone else, welcome back. What kind of animals are you hoping we find?
All of them.
Lions, okay. Giraffes. Alright. Which one? Flamingos. Fish. Okay. Well, I mean, we're going along the river, so we'll be on the look for fish over here. We'll head over to the savannah later, though. That's where we're going to look for some giraffes and lions, elephants. See on our left-hand side, there is a lot of pink-backed pelicans and vultures kind of hanging out in the center. Pelicans, you get to see how they're cooling off. You see how their mouth is open just a bit and it lets the air flow through their mouth. They also will use that as a way to get their food. You'll see them fishing by filling up their mouth with water and the fish. Then they'll squeeze all the water out so it's just the fish remaining and ingest it immediately. Vultures will stay cool. Well, they kind of look intimidating when they do this, but you see how they have their wings open? Just looks like they're trying to be scary, but really that's just letting the air flow through their wings.
Where's a hippo? Yeah. I saw a hippo. Oh crap. Crocodiles.
We have a lot of Nile crocodiles out to our left-hand side. Nile crocodiles are extremely powerful. They can get up to 20 feet long, weigh more than 500 pounds, and take down animals twice their size. Make sure you guys do stay seated for me. Thank you. Nile crocodiles not only have powerful bodies, but they also have powerful jaws. The jaw strength of around 2,000 pounds. So sometimes you'll see them sitting there with their mouth wide open. That's just them cooling off. But considering their jaw strength, definitely don't recommend sticking your hand in there. We also might see crocodiles will sit in there with their mouth open, and they have their babies pretty much gathered in their mouth. If the mom ever feels like her young are threatened, she'll just close her mouth very tight with her babies inside, and that's where they can stay safe. So looking around at the vegetation, see a lot of trees spread out? Must be heading out onto the savanna now. See the tall dry grass is taking over this area. As we've left the forest and of course the river too, something else you guys can do is just make sure you're using ocean-friendly chemicals. That'll make a really big difference. The savanna is the largest ecosystem on the reserve. I have a feeling we're going to be taking some time to get through here. You might see trees that are knocked down. It's usually from either elephants or rhinos. And once those trees are knocked over, vegetarians like giraffes and antelopes, wildebeests, cattle, they'll feed on them. Small animals might use it as a home too. The tall grass is a great place for predators to hide, but also a good source of food for vegetarians. So they'll kind of feed on the grass, keep it pretty short, and that helps take away places for predators to hide. On the left is one of the predators you'll find on the savanna, and the most successful one at that. These are African wild dogs. They're also known as painted dogs, because it kind of looks like their fur is painted on them. They have a success rate to hunting. About 96% of the time they catch their prey. The reason that they are so successful at it is because they will chase their prey until their prey just passes out because it's been running for too long. They run about 35 miles per hour, which might not seem too fast, but they can maintain that speed for up to 4 miles without slowing down whatsoever. They will slow down only if a pack member is falling behind, and they'll stop and wait for it to catch up. The white-bearded wildebeest has the second highest population density of any mammal on Earth, and the first one is humans. Their herds are sometimes found in numbers of up to 100,000. You see how most of them are laying down, and they're facing opposite directions. This is because if they have to get up and run away from a predator, they won't run into each other. And there's also one of them that's kind of keeping its distance. It almost looks like it's watching over the herd, and that's because it is. There will always be 1 to 3 who keep their distance. They keep an eye on the herd. And if a predator approaches that maybe the herd doesn't see, they will make an alarming noise, letting all of them know. And it's not just the wildebeest that will react. All of the animals on the savanna, from wildebeest to antelopes, giraffes to cattle, they all have learned each other's warning calls, and they work together to try to make an escape. So as you can see, everything out here, no matter how small or big it is, it's really important and it has a really big place in the circle of life. Learned a little bit about, even with the trees, how they're important. And the ants, you cannot see them, they're way too tiny, but they live underneath the bark of the acacia trees, which it's all these trees that are pretty much surrounding us. They're the really tall ones. Giraffes will feed on them, and sometimes they strip the bark. So when that happens, the ants will climb onto their tongues and bite them. That's how they keep them protected. The third fastest land mammal on Earth is the springbok. As I come around this corner, you're going to see it on your left, and you're going to think, that little guy is that fast? Yep, they can get up to 60 miles per hour. The reason they're so fast is because they jump, more so than running. They can jump about 14 feet directly in front of themselves and 6 feet up into the air. When you translate their name, it means springbok. Or springbok, it means jumping goat. And these guys, on either side of us, are Ankole cattle. The first thing you'll probably notice is their horns. Their horns can get up to 4 feet long, and they weigh about 5 pounds apiece. Inside of them is a structure that looks kind of like a honeycomb, and it's basically like they have a big air conditioner strapped to their head because it pumps blood in and out of their system and keeps them cool. Another tiny animal is the termite. They build these structures that we're kind of driving past now. These are termite mounds. And elephants also find these structures to be really good scratching posts. So they'll scratch themselves down on it. Maybe the weather will wear them away. And once they're a little shorter, this is a great place for antelopes to stand and keep watch for any kinds of animals hiding. The giraffe is the tallest land mammal on Earth. They're born at about 6 feet tall. When they're fully grown, they can get up to 20 feet tall. They spend about 22 hours a day eating. They have 4 stomachs, so they can eat quite a lot of food. Their hearts weigh 25 pounds. They're 2.5 feet wide across. I'm stopping here because we can't stop quite too close to giraffes, so I'm just stopping a little bit before so you guys can at least get a picture. Giraffes are insanely curious. When they're born, their horns, called ossicones, lay flat, and it takes a few months for them to form. So some of the younger giraffes, they pretty much just have puffballs on top of their heads. Their tail hair is also not fully grown in. It gets up to 3 feet long, and it's basically like their hair on their tail is a fly swatter, because they can swat any part of their body, get rid of any bugs that are bothering them. We talked a little bit about giraffes' tongues, how the ants bite them. Their tongues are about 18 inches long. It's as long as an adult's arm, a human that is. And since they eat all day, their tongue is dark purple to help avoid getting a sunburn. A group of giraffe is called a tower. It's one of my favorite names for a group of animals. On the right is most likely a male African elephant. Female elephants, they stay in a herd throughout their whole lives, but males, they're pretty solitary. A herd of elephants is called a parade. A little bit of a better view over here too. You see how he's flapping his ears back and forth? That's how they cool off, create some circulation back there. They also might use their trunks to throw mud on their back. This doesn't just create a layer between their skin and the sun, but it also acts as a layer between their skin and any kind of bugs too, so it's like a really good insect repellent. Looks like the trees have kind of taken over this area a little bit more. We're still in the savanna, I believe, but this is more like jungle territory. That does bring me to another conservation message for you guys, and this one is recycle your smart devices. Any cell phones, laptops, computers, tablets, video game consoles, or cameras. The reason this is important is because inside of those items you will find a metallic ore known as coltan. And coltan is mined from jungle territory, so it affects elephants, gorillas, mandrills, a lot of animals and plant life that rely on this area for their home. So just personally, I go to Target or Best Buy. It's really easy. Just go over there, drop off your items, and go on about your day. Even if they're broken, the coltan can still be reused. It'll make a very big difference and help out quite a lot. So we're definitely in elephant territory because there is a parade of them on our left. We're going through a place that we cannot stop, but move slowly so you guys might get a chance to see. Seems like a lot of them are hiding over here. In the parade of elephants, the one female that's in charge is the matriarch. She leads her elephants to food, water, safety. They eat about 300 pounds of food per day and 50 gallons of water per day. They store 5 gallons of water in their trunk alone. If it's ever particularly dry season, and maybe the elephants are having a tough time finding a water source, they will go to the baobab tree. It's all of these really big trees we're going past now. Elephants use their trunks to kind of get the water out from inside. Little poke holes in it, as you can see on the right. This one has a couple of holes poked into it. Inside of the trees, there's thousands of gallons of water, so plenty to go around. Because of that, the tree has a nickname, which is the Tree of Life. A group of flamingos is called a flamboyance. This is the greater flamingo species, the lightest pink and the largest. Flamingos are gray up until they're about 2 years old. That's when their color starts to show up. And their color is from their diet. That's brine shrimp. That's what they mostly eat. Flamingos are kind of known to stand on one foot, but the reason is really a big mystery. There are some theories. Some believe that maybe they're just trying to maintain a balance. If that's the reason, it's a pretty cool way to keep your balance. Others believe that they might be trying to regulate their body temperature. Kind of like when you're under the blanket and you're kind of warm, so you stick your foot out. But like I said, these really are all theories, and the true reason behind the behavior is mainly a mystery. Elephants are not the only animals who coat their bodies in mud to cool off. Rhinos, they like to coat their bodies in mud too, but they don't have trunks to help out, so instead they'll just roll around in the mud. They'll use a mud pit, kind of like the one we're seeing on our left. Ostriches also do a pretty similar thing, but they don't use mud. I'm sure that if they got mud in their feathers, they'd kind of stick together and it wouldn't really be too helpful. Instead they use dirt. They'll sit in the dirt and kind of flap their wings around and basically take a dust bath. Ostriches are the largest bird in the world. They cannot fly, but where they can't fly, they make up for it in their ability to run. An ostrich can run about 40 miles an hour. Very fast birds. Ostriches kind of get this unfortunate thing where people don't think they're that smart, but they're some of the most intelligent birds in the world. These are females. Males are black and females are gray. They lay pretty big eggs. Their eggs weigh about 3 pounds, and they're equal to 2 dozen chicken eggs. If you take a look on your left and look all the way in the very far back, it's kind of tough to see it there, but there's 2 cheetahs laying in the back. It's way, way, way in the far back, and then like towards the right, behind those trees. There's a pair of them, so just a pair of cheetahs, but a group is called a coalition. Cheetahs are the fastest land mammal on Earth, getting up to 70 miles per hour. It's almost like their bodies are made for that speed. Their tail is like a big muscular propeller, and it helps them to turn on an instant. Their claws don't retract. It's like they've got running shoes on. And in general, their body is very slender and kind of athletically built. Well, this is really rare to see right now. You see lions in the daytime. There's a male lion up here on our left. Lions are nocturnal, so they're inactive for about 20 hours a day. They get up for about 4 hours per night. That's when they do their hunting. The females do most of the hunting. The males stay with the pride, and they make sure that they're protected from any predators. In the daytime, the lion's vision is, well, pretty much the same as our vision. But at night, they have these white markings under their eyes that makes their vision 6 times more powerful. With the Lion King coming out, we are definitely raising awareness about lion conservation. When the first Lion King came out, there were about 200,000 lions in the world. Today, there's about 20,000. That's an 80% population decrease in only 20 years. So if you guys want to make a donation to the Disney Conservation Fund, part of those proceeds are being put toward the Lion Project. And what we're doing with that is pretty much helping out with a lot of things all over the world. We're rebuilding habitats out in Africa to help. We're working with the communities out there to see what we can do to make a difference, how we impact them, trying to find solutions. Speaking of the Lion King, on your left is a pair of warthogs. A group of warthogs is called a sonder. Warthogs are surprisingly light on their feet. They weigh about 300 pounds, but they're pretty light. They move about kind of quietly. These are bontaboks on our left. Very tiny antelopes. Almost extinct in the early 19th century. There were only about 17 of them left in the whole world. And luckily they cannot jump, so a farmer helped out by building a fence around them. It's actually saved them from extinction. A group of rhinos is called a crash. These are white rhinos. They're larger than black rhinos, weighing about 5,000 pounds. Black rhinos are about 3,000. They're also more social than black rhinos.
They lay
so you can
eggs?
see they're usually found in groups. Black rhinos tend to be pretty solitary.
Gonna be my
But the main
Snapchat
difference
caption.
is the shape of their mouth, and this is all because of where they live. Since black rhinos live in the forest, they have an upper prehensile lip. They can kind of move it around and use it to grab their food, and it makes their mouth kind of round. White
They're not
rhinos
the
live
only
on the
mammals to
savannah,
lay
so they
eggs.
eat by grazing, and their mouth is kind of flat because of that. That animal you're seeing on your right is a water buck. It's kind of hiding out over there. Water bucks are waterproof because they have an oily coating on their fur. It also makes them smell a bit unappetizing to predators. Seems that we have officially left the savannah, because this area has a lot more trees going on and the grass is once again much shorter like it was out in the forest. So one of the best survival instincts is to stick together. Whether your group is a herd, whether it's a flock, a pride, gotta stick together and take care of each other. Earlier, and then we kind of went over about how Harambe means come together, and like I said, I hope that after this experience, everybody is encouraged to stick together and take care of one another. If you guys want to see more animals, there are 2 walking trails in the animal kingdom that I highly recommend. There's one in Africa. You will be passing it up as you're on your way back into the Harambe village. It's called the Gorilla Falls Exploration Trail. And it's got gorillas, and an underwater viewing of hippos. It's really cool to see.
You want to go?
There's also the Maharaja Jungle Trek, located in Africa or in Asia, behind Kali River Rapids. And over there you can find species that you only find out in Asia, like tigers. Both of these trails take about 15 to 20 minutes to get through, just depending on how many times you stop, and there's a lot of guides along the trail that you can stop and ask them questions too. So plan your time wisely if you want to see them. They close at 7, a little bit earlier than the rest of the park. Any wilderness explorers on board, the name of the truck is Simba 1. That's